Okay, welcome everybody.
Hey,
hello.
How's it going? Welcome to Drink and
Dried
Dried
again.
Slightly
Hooray.
redder edition.
Yes, slightly red edition.
Yeah.
And and today we have our very first guest on the show. It's Trent, everybody.
Hi, Trent.
Hey, hello everyone. How are you doing?
Hooray!
So you can have like some fanfare.
Yeah, right.
Cheers.
Ta-da!
Hey,
Yeah, right.
it's Trent.
Glorious. Yes. So today we're just gonna be chilling and talking about some D&D, as we've all, I guess, played and DM'd before in the past. I assume, right?
My first interaction with D&D was running it.
You played that as a DM?
Wow.
You were the
Yeah,
DM first?
yeah.
Same. That's basically
It was
how
terrible.
Well,
I had no idea what I was doing, but I ran a game.
Mhm.
A couple of people went for like, I don't know, half a year or something off and on.
Wow,
completely
that's
no
a great track record.
storyline, no rules, nothing else. And it's just, okay, I'm a DM now.
Yeah.
Whatever
then-
I say goes, and I say yes.
Pretty much. I pretty much ran it as a D20 system.
D20.
So there wasn't any like real modifiers that you would put to stuff. It's like, roll it, see if it works.
Mhm.
And people had fun. I guess that's all that was important.
That's
Ultimately, yeah.
all that matters. Yep.
It's
yep.
kind of the same way for me too. For me, it was like the first game I ever ran was Curse of Strahd, because that was like the one that I absolutely had to try out
Mhm.
because I love that whole genre of like gothic horror. And initially, I just wanted to be a player in that campaign, but like all my friends were like, "I'm not about to do all this reading," and I'm just like, "I guess I'll be the guy
Yeah.
who does the reading." So yeah, I kind of ended up just like being the one to like run it, and had like a whole bunch of like sessions that started, but nothing really picked up after like 3 sessions, and I just like starting Curse of Strahd like multiple times, but never really getting very far. And
Yeah.
I was just like, one day I'll finish that campaign. One day. One day.
One day.
I'll find the right.
That's how it is for one of my other DMs. He likes running Pathfinder,
Oh, yeah.
and he's running. It's not Curse of the Crimson Throne. It is Rise of the Rune Lords,
Okay, I've heard
and
of it,
he's gotten us the current party farther than he's ever gotten in the module before, and it's like halfway through.
yeah.
It always breaks up just before halfway. He's like, "No, I will finish this campaign sometime."
It's,
Someday.
I
one
know.
day.
I feel like I'm like towards a certain point with like that campaign I was running too. Same thing happened to me where I was like, okay, look, I need to finish this thing one way or another, and I feel like I was kind of like fast tracking a lot. You know, like I was like, okay, there's like things going on here, but like you guys need to go and do that. So do you guys want to do that? Like I felt like I was railroading the party a lot, and I was just like, oh god, I need to. I'm kind of like glad that like I noticed that like hindsight now, where I'm just like, okay, maybe I need to fix the way I DM a little bit more. But like we all like grow and learn as we progress through it.
Mhm.
Like a lot of my early DMing days was just me just saying like, yeah, let's go for it. Let's see what happens. I don't know. I'll just say this happens this way. I don't know what the rules are right now.
Mhm.
Generally,
Right?
Yeah, and I've kind of just like taken a very like rules like not super heavy approach to D&D so far. At least with me, I feel.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. You feel like it
What about
really.
you, Jackson?
I was gonna say like every DM has their own style. I
Mhm.
guess like style of running things, and it depends on the setting. Like if you run something that's heavily like book based, I guess then I guess you follow more of those rules. But like
Right,
like
I
the
guess.
campaign that like I've been running
Uh-huh.
has been like 90% homebrew. So it's been like
Yeah, just his own baby.
yeah, a lot of my own like there's a lot of like house rules.
Mhm.
Not a whole lot, but like some that I've incorporated. But most of it's homebrew stuff. So it's like you kind of like you bend the rules on some point, and other points you're like, nah, this is kind of like that's the rule.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were a couple of times I remember actually where you were like doing some things of like, oh, I had like essentially you had an encounter for us and you showed us like a monster, and I was just like, oh, I think I know what kind of monster this is.
Mhm.
Like the meta in me, I'm just like, wait, I'm supposed to be a player right now. I can't be a DM right
Yeah,
now.
yeah,
I need
yeah.
to like essentially pull myself out of that mentality and just like be a player at the table right now. There were a couple of times I caught myself with that.
Yeah. Yeah, it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, from what you sent me through like the emails and stuff, you said you wanted to kind of highlight a bit of like the storytelling aspect of
Yeah.
the whole story of how like I'm assuming how you run the game probably.
Oh yeah. That is kind of it, because it was like the bat signal you put out on the site was like, hey, we want to talk about storytelling and all this other stuff and D&D, and we just want to party. It's like, well, I know how to party. There I come.
Let's go.
But yeah, no. Storytelling is intrinsic to D&D, at least after the '80s, pretty much, because originally it was just a battle game.
Yeah.
And one of my regular players, we call him Grog. His name's actually Matt, but his first character was named Grog. It just stuck. Shout out to my players when they listen to this. I love all y'all, and it is a wild ride every single time. He is an absolutely amazing battle DM. He played 3.5 edition for years, and he was introduced to me through 3.5, and his encounters are always just absolutely enjoyable. They're challenging, they run the risk of death, but we can still beat them if we know how to play our characters. But one of the parts that he notices in himself is that he's not as good of a storytelling DM. Like, we go from one place, we go to another place, we fight. All right, we're going to walk in this night, it's a fight. We're going to go in, it's another fight. All right, we're going to save the world, it's a fight. But it's not necessarily somebody comes in, we talk about a few things, we question the locals, we play some super sleuth stuff, and then we figure out the puzzle and all this other stuff. He did have puzzles. Actually, really funny story. He had set up a series, kind of like a labyrinth, and we were supposed to work our way through. The first puzzle that he had took us like one whole session, and it was this most simple answer for the thing, and we finally figured it out after a lot of way too much effort. The very next puzzle that he had was based off of a chessboard, and the key to it was the knight piece, and unfortunately for him, my favorite piece in chess is the knight.
Nice.
And then I blow it away in 5 minutes. And he's like, I was waiting for you to do this for like 3 hours. I didn't have anything else planned. It's like, that's my favorite piece. I didn't know that. Why?
How do you just have a favorite piece in a chess game?
It doesn't
Right?
make sense.
That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, like that's not something as a DM even like you could have potentially predicted. You already have so much going on like as a DM in your head already. And then for it to be like, oh, okay, I got this puzzle, and it's gonna take them like a good luck. They're gonna have to really work for it, and then it's just, oh no, I know everything about this thing. I got this already.
It's the Rain Man moment, honestly, and it's just like
honestly, and those moments do be like,
I want to be mad, but I can't be because that was good.
I have to reward this. This is really good.
Yeah,
That's funny.
I love that.
But going off of what you said, that's one of the reasons why I love my players. Most of them know their characters and know their class, and some of them are trying out new ones. That being my brother, the lovely bard known as Brawny Javo.
Yes,
absolutely. My brother has an absolute knack for playing main characters, and he plays them so well. And I love every minute of it, even when he forgets some of the stuff that he's supposed to be doing. But they just are absolutely amazing. And there's some of the best stories that at least we tell ourselves involve my brother's characters because of just how wacky they are.
And how long have you guys been playing D&D? Since like 3.5, I think you said? Like
my friend Grog was playing since 3.5. I started as a player with 3.5, but it's only been about I figured out about 5 to 6 years that I've been playing.
Wow. That's good.
That's a good stretch.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I encounter people who's like, we've been playing since the 80s. I've been playing since the 70s. It's like, oh.
Yeah. Now that's exciting.
I'm a new kid.
Yeah, I'm still a new kid. I still feel like a new kid on the block with just like how little I've gotten to play, honestly.
Mm.
And then there's me. I'm barely there.
Yeah, I know, but you're like keeping up though. You're like, because like I said, like I never really, with your homebrew world, like I never really felt like I was ready for that. And then like when I got you into the game and you started to like really like, no, I really want to do this. I was like, damn, maybe I should just try it and see what happens.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm excited to see how that leads in the future. But
I mean, yeah, kind of like back to like the whole storytelling thing. Is that it actually is pretty hard. I feel like as a DM to like really like to continue a story, sure, but like just to make NPCs like really unique enough for people to remember, So if you plant like an NPC early on in the story or whatever, and then they come back and the players don't even recognize them, it's like, it's kind of a bummer. It's like,
well,
yeah, you met him before.
Didn't leave the impression I thought he would have.
Yeah. For me, I found that certain characters will be more memorable than others. Usually what I have is a bunch of almost faceless NPCs, and any like named NPCs, like the golden one in the RPG is like, you notice that, someone's different about this one, we're supposed to pay attention to it, and usually don't give a crap about certain aspects of it, and they're just like over the top about everything. I had one really creepy hostel manager that they stayed at, and he was like, every single time he talked, and each sentence was, and they're just like, oh God, please, no, leave us alone, go.
No.
Yeah, we can't. I can't. That's not for me right now.
Actually, since they never actually explored that line, he was part of an illicit quest that I had set up for them to discover. They just never explored this. Like, he's too creepy. We're leaving. We're not coming back.
Yeah, straight up just noped out of that. Like, I'm not gonna. No, I don't want to have to deal with that at all. No.
They probably saved some time though, like by avoiding that. So I mean.
Oh yeah, no. I even set up like a whole like mini dungeon for it, and they're just like, would you look at the time? It's time to not interact with him. I am going to file a restraining order the moment I get out of here, and I'm leaving the country.
I feel like I've definitely had moments like that where like I'll have like certain like NPCs that I'm like, okay, this is gonna be like the one that's gonna get into like the next thing as long as I like follow that. Again, the railroading thing, because like I feel like a lot of DMs early on kind of like, I don't know, like at least for me,
they have like a one-track thing where it's
like a one-track mind, like they think it's gonna go like from A to B to C and so on.
Mm.
But like as I've grown as a DM, I do feel like kind of just like giving everybody like little like story hooks of like, here's not the whole thing, but here's a little bit of bait. You know, if you guys want to pursue it, cool. If not, you know, there's other things you guys could potentially look into. And then I kind of just leave essentially like storylines out there. And whatever the players grab onto, I try to just follow through with that, and I'll save those other story threads for like other things at some point, hopefully.
I do a little bit of that. I obviously put opportunities for them to start a story.
Right.
When I'm doing homebrew, at least.
Yeah.
But for most of what I do, I have all roads lead to Rome. There's a certain couple of sets of events that I want to happen.
Yeah.
And all it takes for them to get there is really up to the players. And fine, we'll take a 2 to 3 month journey in game to do something that's completely unrelated because you're interested in it. Let's explore that. Meanwhile, bad guys and other stuff are doing what they need to do in the back end, and the problem's getting worse. Just take your time.
Yeah.
I don't care. It's going to be even more fun.
You guys lit the fire on in the stove, and
now it's
a whole inferno. Like the building's burned down.
I kind of have like that sort of like same sort of mindset where it's like, there's going to be an ultimate goal and there's different spots where you need to go, but like how you get in between these like crucial points, really, like if they want to go in a completely different direction and do a completely different quest, like sure, it's up to them really, because I feel like that's like the best part of what D&D has is like you don't have to go on every single point. Like it's so expansive that they can just
because it is essentially like a sandbox type of feel.
Yeah.
And honestly, like also just thinking back on like just video games in general that have that sort of thing. Like more often than not, I'm not following the main storyline. I'm going over here trying to collect all the wet cards so that I can play the card game a little bit better, essentially, outside of the main storyline. But
So I tried to run a campaign that was very much an exploratory video game.
Cool.
And it didn't really go all that well because since there was no driving goal for my players, they just kind of futzed around and really didn't do much of anything. Yeah. And we lost 2 players. One because one was having trouble paying attention to the plot because they were very goal oriented, and their friend also left because they said, and I quote, "Every single time I don't play a particular character because I let them have multiple characters, it feels like nothing happens. So I'm driving the story. I don't want to have that just kind of be my whole thing because I want to play other characters.
Right.
That's completely fine." And I eventually just ended up cutting that short instead of the massive possibly year campaign that I had planned. It's like, all right, we're starting to lose players. We're just going to have like a little little battle thing, wrap up the storyline, leave it open for other people to explore, and we'll be on our merry way. And then I went and jumped into Curse's Trot.
Hey. That's a pretty good one to jump
That's a good choice,
into,
yeah.
honestly.
Yeah, I feel like
I'm struggling with it, honestly.
Yeah, I feel like at that certain point too, like if you're struggling with a campaign and you notice like your other players in the table are like kind of struggling to stick around with it, maybe it's like time to have that talk and be like, all right, do we really want to continue doing this, or do we want to just move on to the next thing? Essentially,
Yeah.
But I think like having goals at least is
some goals, absolutely.
Some goals,
Yeah.
at least, is kind of crucial to storytelling as well. It's like because like if they're just gonna be wandering around, kind of like what you said, you know, they're gonna lose interest because it's like, well, what are we doing this for?
Yeah, if that's the case, I might as well just be playing Minecraft, where I just literally just wander around and do whatever I feel like doing at that time.
So there has to be a balance between the personal goals of the players and there has to be the overall goal of the campaign.
Yes.
Because you can have a goal. Like, the goal was to explore the island and essentially colonize it. And that really wasn't going all that well because, well, what's in it for me? You're being paid to be here. Like,
right.
How much do you care about your 9-to-5 job? It's like, I just work here, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of the whole vibe of it, honestly. So trying to give players a reason to want to do this is very important, essentially.
So one of the things I found interesting when I look at people who like are recording the history of D&D is that originally, in like first edition, experience points were gold coins.
Yeah.
So the more gold you had,
the
the higher you'd get leveled up. Yeah. So that was very motivating. It's like, I want to be super powerful. I'm going to get more gold coins. There's a place full of gold coins.
Yeah, that was kind of the whole driving goal of the game back in the day. Yeah, it was just get rich, get stronger.
Right?
Yeah.
Pretty much, actually. Yeah.
Pretty much,
yeah. And then now look at it. Oof.
Well, now it's just so much you could do with it too.
Yeah.
But I feel like ultimately it is still like that fundamentality. Like you need to give yourself that personal reason as to why you want to get to that goal that you've set out for whatever story you're running with your players.
Yeah. So would you prefer? Oh, this is a kind of up in the air question. Kind of is like, do you prefer doing like homebrew stuff as a DM, or do you resort a lot on like the books?
I absolutely love homebrew.
Yes.
The reason is because I don't have to spend 30 to 40 minutes before each session to memorize a bunch of other people's stuff. And it's like, well, I built this place. I know what's going on.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
And if I don't know what's going on over there, I can just say what's going on over there.
Yeah.
It's great.
It's like, well, we'll find out.
Yeah.
And my longest running campaign, which I called Forging the Onyx, is in my homebrew world. It's the 4 kingdoms, and we've explored most of them. And now we're expanding into other parts of the world, and it's great. And I sneak peek for other things. We're going to be doing a prequel campaign to all of that, and we're going to follow because I had to figure out time for my world. So there's multiple ages. The setting for Forging the Onyx occurs within the Golden Age of Arcana. So there's a lot of magic, but it wasn't as good as it once was. We're going to explore what happens the last day of the Platinum Age of Arcana and how that goes into the first day of rebuilding.
Oh, wow.
That's cool.
That's going to be such a cool game to play.
Yeah, I feel like there's going to be a whole bunch of like lore, history, all that stuff.
I get the sense that there's also going to be like a lot of callbacks to things that are that happen in like your other campaign too, probably.
Well, it's happening almost 30,000 years in the past.
Wow.
So
history.
we call it. We refer to it as the Mad Max campaign.
The Mad Max campaign.
That's the inspiration for it. So that we're going to the storytelling. We've had a couple of movie inspired campaigns for other things, and this is going to be like, hey, everything was great. Now everything's not.
Yeah.
And it's going to take the main part of the playing is going to be about 7 years after the event, and so everything's had time to kind of calm down, terrify and become terrible, but solidify at the same time to see, well, what did happen back in those days.
That's really cool. I love that. Anything going back into history, and then you get to show them like everything that you've worked on. like history-wise, lore-wise,
Yeah.
story-wise, all that stuff.
Stuff that you maybe would have only barely made like a little passing comment here, or a little reference over there. It's like, okay, now you get to say like some. Now you guys get to fill in the blanks a little bit, essentially. I feel.
I can't give away too much, but there is one like little lore hole that I'm really waiting for them to eventually encounter.
I totally understand. Yeah.
And of course, if they're going to watch this, I can't say it, but it's like it sets up for most of Forging the Onyx and most of the world, and it ties into some of the other history. But it's like Forging the Onyx, it in itself was in the past game, and there was so much lore around each one of the kingdoms and all this other stuff that it started out that the main character was played by my brother. Hey, he was a celestial warlock, Pact of the Tome, from a small village on a massive mountain that's in the north of the kingdom that he was in. According to official documentation, there were only 2 kingdoms.
Oh, okay.
And when you go over to the second kingdom, you find out, well, there's 4 kingdoms.
It's like,
something's not
Right?
adding up.
Something's just adds up, actually.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
on the other side of the massive mountain known as North Spire is a land that officially does not exist according to the Kingdom of Sarand.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
Interesting.
God.
And then they invaded like 3 months after the warlock got his little marching orders.
Guess I'll invade.
That's so cool.
It is what it is. That was amazing campaign. I love it. That's the one I have the most up on online for.
Oh yeah.
And I want to go back because I want to go back and watch it because it lasted 3 years.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
a good
A 3-year
long time.
campaign.
That's awesome.
We got to roughly 100-ish. There was a whole bunch of technical issues and audio, like
Mhm.
completely terrible microphone quality at the beginning. And most of the
that's early days for us, absolutely.
Yeah. And you can see the quality of the maps is like I just drew it with the drawing tool in Roll20, and so it's just like all these boxes, a couple of squiggles here, a couple of other stuff here, and it's just like, hey, it worked. And then I find like incarnate and stuff, and then I draw all the other stuff and makes it all nice and better, and it's all prettier, but the battle maps still look like ass.
I think as long as it got the point across. It's like,
literally that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like you got here, and then now you're here, and now you're here. And it's like, okay, well.
Yeah. It's that progression. Like if you can run D&D, knowing nothing about D&D, you can do it when you have resources, and it just gets better and better and better.
Honestly, it just builds upon itself a lot over time.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually a really good analogy for like how we've grown as storytellers. I feel.
That's true, actually. Yeah.
We have 5 minutes left because Zoom has a free thing of 40 minutes.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I know. I noticed that too. I was just like, of course. I guess, I don't know, 5 minutes. What can we talk about in 5 minutes?
Well, we could like give each other or give people not the necessary thing. What is your one go-to tip for DMing that you think makes everything better?
That's a good question, actually. That makes everything better? Like kind of just like the vibe of it, or?
Would you like to give an example real quick?
Mine is be ready to roll with every single punch that comes at you because your players are going to throw them. Absolutely. And my little agent of chaos, Cody, will do it 3 ways to Sunday. And he's just like, how did you get there? Why are you doing this?
Yeah.
Okay.
What was the leap and bounds that you just did in your head? Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
I feel like kind of like, I guess that kind of to tag along too is that it's like you got to be prepared for like your own unexpected surprises from your players. So like something that they're like, oh well, you're in this battle or whatever, and then somebody just decides to just completely go off in a different direction, and you're like, okay, well now I need to run
this thing,
and
this
the battle
right now,
because that was actually.
I think I know which moment you're talking about.
I was actually thinking of a different
moment?
situation where
okay.
it was my brother. He's getting into D&D for the first time this year,
awesome.
or no, last year, but now this year, and so I was like, oh, I'll run a quick one shot pretty much with my wife and then my brother, and he invited some of his friends, but they're like, nah. So I was like, whatever. So pretty much what happened is that they went up to some guards at a city wall, and my wife is just like, okay, no, I'm gonna go over here. I'm gonna try to talk to the guard. My brother went to a different guard and just went, yeah, like I was just like, oh
no.
Okay. What? He didn't even talk to the guard or anything. He was just like, I'm attacking. Like, sure. And
I
then
think that's one of those things where like he's just like, okay, let me just see what Jackson's gonna do in this situation now. Like, what's gonna happen?
So I was like, now I need to do like,
testing the waters.
Yeah, like she's talking with the guard over here and he's fighting with the guard over there, and it's like that whole multi. You're like,
wait, so the other guard has no idea what's going on. They're just talking.
Well, because it was like a pretty it was a curved wall, right?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so my wife's character went around the other corner while my brother went around the other side.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
It was ridiculous, but I guess that was kind of like to tag along too. So.
But that's how I got my first player kill, was something like that.
That's awesome.
Which I can tell the next time I'm on if you want.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
So,
yeah, absolutely.
we can have a follow-up one to this one.
Yes.
Yeah, I think we might need to follow up.
I think so.
Absolutely. Yeah, this was already really great, man. Any closing remarks?
I don't know. Well, I was gonna say because it has like the whole time limit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know if we can.
We could just do another one
I was
right
gonna
after
say,
it.
like end the video now and then just do another call because I'm so invested in this
Already?
It's fun.
And even after that, if you need me to come on again, I'm totally down.
Yeah,
Sounds great.
do you have time? Like, do you still have time, like right now, or?
Yeah, I can easily do another 40 minutes, and then I'm probably going to be clocked out from heat exhaustion.
That's fair. Yeah, absolutely fair.
I mean,
Yeah.
what do you think?
I think that's great. Yeah, I think that works for me.
Do
Right.
continuation right here?
Yeah, if you want to. Yeah.
All right. So I'll probably just
Alright.
try to edit this.
Edit
this part of the
out,
video out and be like, yeah, that.
This is going to be a massive edit for you. It's going to be bad.
Either
Well,
that
I've
or
had a
just-
great time.
Just keep it in and be like, it's all improv.
No, it's all a seamless transition. Watch. It's just gonna be
See how the sausage is made.
Yeah. Essentially, yeah.
Yes. Okay, so I'm gonna do a quick
Yeah.
thing here. All right, we're back to recording now.
Hey.
Okay, seamless edit. And nothing happened.
And we've been here the whole time.
The whole time.
Any editing you notice really didn't happen.
Exactly.
Yeah, this cat on my lap here the whole time.
The one that you can't really see.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Summon cat.
Yeah.
My familiar.
This is, yeah. Someone familiar. Yes. You get a lazy cat.
Toby.
Alright. Well, we talked about storytelling. We've talked about a few other things.
Mhm.
Like, what do we talk about next?
Well, I think I remember you mentioning character deaths.
Yes,
Mm,
yes. Now I'll tell you the story
Exactly.
of how
yeah.
random thing led to my first player kill.
Yes.
So a little bit of backstory. In 14 the Onyx, there were originally 3 characters who were the OGs of the campaign. There was my brother, who was named Lundgren Bask, my friend Steven, who played Frederick von Steuben, and a lizardfolk druid played by our friend Craig named Dread Scala. And they had managed to make their way to the Second Kingdom, which was at Olton, I believe it was the name of the place. Anyway, so they're hunting down this cult. That's the major goal of von Steuben, because his political paymasters are like, you need to stop this.
Something happened. Oh
Did we
no.
lose Trent?
Which led them
There
to
we go.
a...
Sorry, he
Sorry,
cut out for a second.
it was frozen for like
Yeah.
5 seconds.
No. Where did I leave y'all? Oh, my internet connection's unstable. Everything's unstable.
No.
Ah!
I think we're on stage.
Right.
We're unstable unicorns.
Where did I leave you?
Going into the Second Kingdom.
Yes.
Right, so they're going into the Second Kingdom, and they're hunting down the lieutenants of the cult leader. So, in one of the cities that they're in, they locate one of the lieutenants, and while my brother's character Lundgren is just like making soap in the hotel,
Right. As you do.
Yeah.
As you do, he is a lovely, unique character who got a chemist kit. It's just like, I'm doing stuff. A couple of the other people were just like hanging around. I forgot who was actually in the party at the time. They're probably off gambling or something. So von Steuben and Trent Gander said, you know what? We're going to reconnoiter where this lieutenant is. So they go to the safe house the guy is located. Like, all right, we're going to sneak in. Okay, so they sneak. The druid goes in, unlocks the door, and von Steuben and Trent Gander go inside, and they're just like, we're killing some people. This ends today. They go upstairs, they see a guy, some noise happens, people start dying. So the lizard folk is known for, despite the fact that the type of druid that he was supposed to be like mostly transforming into animals and stuff. One of the signature moves was summoning a horde of velociraptors, these little dinosaurs, to go fight people.
Yeah.
And I think it's the episode before von Steuben's Memento Mori, which was like 50 episodes in or something, and they. So people just start coming out of their rooms and other stuff. Everyone's ready to throw down. People are dying in the hallways, and the guy who's like the mini boss, the lieutenant, comes out. He starts going toe to toe with von Steuben. Steuben's like cuts him down, but then he goes down, and he's just lying out in the middle of the hallway, bleeding out. He fails his first death save.
Yep.
And in walks a storm cleric. End of the hallway. Everyone's dying around him. For all he knows, the dude who he's sworn allegiance to, he's dead on the floor in front of him. He's surrounded by velociraptors. There's only one thing to do. He casts Thunder Wave. And von Steuben was in the blast radius. Automatic crit. Von Steuben dies on the floor, surrounded by the bodies of his enemies. And you could see, I don't know if we had video at the time, you could have probably only seen my face, but you could hear from how people were reacting, the entire tone of the story changed at that specific point. The fun that we were having moments ago was all of a sudden, this has just gotten serious. Oh my god, he's dead. And there's like no... Because one of the things that I rule is that while I'm not actively trying to kill the players, if they put themselves in dangerous situations, I won't necessarily save them. And this was...
We froze him.
Not the internet again.
He's frozen in place.
He's frozen. Come back, please.
Trent, please come back.
Okay, there we go. It was frozen.
Okay, we all froze. I won't necessarily save them. And the last thing that the storm cleric's going to do is like, well, I'm dying, or I have a high chance of dying. I'm taking them with me.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Yeah.
And that's the way it rolls.
And so, after the
no, not again.
Okay, all right. You guys are frozen. My network bandwidth is low.
Oh no.
Ooh.
Because you guys went from being this big to this big.
Oh yeah,
Gotcha.
that's a problem.
Gotcha.
Oh no! I tried to run a speed test and it didn't pop up.
Oh no.
Ooh, yeah.
I was gonna say this probably might end up being like a to be continued thing.
This probably should be.
It should.
I am down to run this another time when my net is not being a dick to me. And I'll love to sit down and talk again.
Of course.
Oh, yeah, we would love to hear. We would love to hear more of what you have to say about storytelling and character deaths and all this stuff too, man.
Yeah,
it's already very fascinating.
We'll leave the audience at a cliffhanger like that.
Yeah. That could be just like a thing you put like, so if we're gonna.
Yeah, right. Like, stay tuned for part two.
Part 2, essentially. Right as we start talking about character deaths, essentially. Yeah, right. Then you can do the whole meme thing.
Character deaths, stream deaths.
Oh no! Just a lot of death.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, for sure. We'll follow up with the part 2, and yeah, it was awesome talking with you. It was so cool. So
yeah, I had a lot of fun getting to hear your stories, man.
Yes, and if you wanna,
I can't wait to hear yours.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you wanna kind of plug your stream if you'd like, or anything else?
Yeah, you can find the Adventures of Forging the Onyx on The Gamer's Tale on YouTube. Oh, of course, my net starts to pick up again.
Yeah.
What the goddamn? We don't want to risk it. We want to keep going.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Plug your stuff quick so
just
it can show up on screen.
All right. The Gamer's Tale on YouTube. You can find almost all of the Forging the Onyx episodes on there. If you want to watch it live, when I can do it live, it's beskarhawk on Twitch, which is BESKAR Hawk. You should be able to figure it out.
Yeah.
I'm Trent, and it's been great being here.
Awesome.
It's been great having you, man.
So
Thank you so much for joining us here.
And now chug the rest of the drink. No, I was just kidding.
Yeah.
Oh no! Oh no!
You're gonna start the trend now of like us having to have our guest drink at the end of the show.
I mean, it is. Yeah.
Hey, there it is. Yes. Oh, yeah,
it is
man.
drink and dried for a reason.
There is a reason we have that name.
Good thing I don't have to drive later.
Exactly.
All right.
All right. Sweet. We'll talk to you later.
Yeah.
Then.
You have a good one.
All right, man.
Cool.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.